Have you ever sat quietly in your familiar room and wondered if there might be another way to live your later years fully, without having to leave this place behind? Maybe you've heard someone say that. At a certain age, moving into a nursing home is the safest choice. But is that really where peace of mind begins? When every wall in your home carries a memory? When each chair and every corner of the kitchen holds a piece of your life? The idea of leaving it all behind for somewhere unfamiliar can feel deeply unsettling. Aging is not an ending. It is a new chapter that deserves to be chosen with care and with deep respect for yourself. And perhaps, in the midst of worries about health, loneliness, or becoming a burden to your children. No one has ever told you that there are other paths that are more humane, more comforting, and filled with hope. These are options that do not take away your freedom, but instead help you live more comfortably, more gently, and more in tune with the life you've always known. If you are looking for a path that feels softer, more private, and more true to who you are, then what we are about to share in this video may open a new perspective for you. Stay with us, and you may just find something that feels familiar, something that quietly speaks to your heart. Solution 1. Living at home with support you can trust. There is a simple truth that becomes more vivid as we step into our later years. There really is no place like home. The familiar walls, the old armchair, the gentle scent from the kitchen, or the sound of birds outside the window each morning. They are not just objects, but memories, silent comforts that nourish the soul. That is why more and more older adults are choosing to remain in their own homes rather than move into care facilities. And the solution lies in something very simple: receiving the right support at the right time from those who understand that caring does not mean replacing, but empowering. Staying at home with at-home support is not about giving into age, but about choosing to live with intention and wisdom. It allows you to maintain your daily routines, keep the rhythm of your life, and above all, protect the feeling of being in charge of your own journey. Many seniors believe that needing help is a sign of weakness, but the truth is quite the opposite. It is the choice of someone who fully understands the value of health, freedom, and personal dignity. When someone lends a hand to cook a meal, tidy the kitchen, remind you to take your medicine, or simply share a morning conversation, you are not losing independence. You are gaining strength to live more fully. Let us look at the story of Dorothy, a 78-year-old woman living in Vermont. After slipping in the bathroom one day, she began feeling anxious whenever she was alone. Instead of moving into a care facility, she decided to hire someone to come in for a few hours each day. She kept her privacy, stayed close to the home full of memories of her late husband, and found life to be more manageable. The caregiver did not just assist with daily tasks, but became a companion, helping her solve crossword puzzles in the morning and making her a warm pot of tea as the sun went down. Sometimes all it takes is a caring glance or a gentle reminder to make the day feel more peaceful. What makes at-home support truly valuable is its flexibility. Some may only need assistance once a week, while others may prefer someone stopping by each morning to check on medications. As health conditions change, the level of support can be adjusted accordingly. This ensures that older adults do not feel restricted or like they are losing control, but rather that they are actively participating in their own care. Research shows that seniors who live at home with appropriate support often have better spirits, are less likely to experience depression, and tend to maintain stronger memory than those living in institutional settings where personalization is lacking. You may have thought that a peaceful old age requires a quiet place with full-time care, but if you think carefully, your familiar home, where every wall holds a memory, may actually offer the deepest sense of safety. With the right support, you do not have to give up the things you love in exchange for convenience. You can still sit in your favorite chair, look out at your little herb garden, listen to your favorite songs, and water the plants you cherish with your own hands. This is not merely surviving old age. It is continuing to live it fully, with emotion, joy, and choice. In the end, choosing to stay at home with at-home support is not just a practical decision, but a declaration of self-worth. It says that you deserve a life of quality, of respect, and of connection. And sometimes, the real difference is not about where you live, but whether you still feel like yourself. So if you are wondering whether to stay or go, ask yourself this: what makes you feel more at peace, more at ease, and more like your true self? If the answer is right here, where I am, then perhaps you have already found the right choice for you. Solution 2. Living with family and a model of mutual support in the journey of parenthood. We were once the steady anchor for our children, but as time passes, our hair turns silver, our health slows down, and we sometimes find ourselves quietly wondering, if one day I can no longer care for myself, who will be there? The answer doesn't have to be a nursing home or some unfamiliar place. With love, understanding, and a bit of thoughtful planning, living with children and grandchildren can become a new chapter filled with connection and meaning. It's not about returning to dependency, but about building a space of mutual support, where every generation has its place and its own role. Many seniors worry that living with their family will become a burden or strip away their personal freedom, but that doesn't have to be the case if we take the initiative to establish clear, loving boundaries. A multi-generational living arrangement is not a step backward, but a new form of closeness where older adults can maintain their routines, be part of the household with a strong and respected presence, and feel valued. When given personal space, the ability to make their own decisions, and the opportunity to contribute, seniors not only feel loved, but also realize they still matter. Take Mr. William, 81 years old. After his wife passed away, he lived alone in a small apartment. But the quiet dinners and lonely afternoons began to chill his heart. When his daughter invited him to move in, he hesitated, yet a renovated attic space with its own entrance, a small kitchen, and a private living room helped him feel like he was starting over without losing his independence. Each evening, he could choose to dine with the family or enjoy a quiet meal alone. On weekends, he would go to baseball games with his grandson, share stories from the past, or simply sit on the porch and watch the sunset. He never felt like he was being taken care of, but instead that he was living alongside his family in a way that was intentional and deeply fulfilling. The benefits of this kind of living extend beyond emotional well-being. The presence of an elder brings quiet yet profound value into a home. Children are exposed to patience, maturity, and life experience. Adults gain a source of wisdom and support when life gets overwhelming. And in return, seniors feel they are still making a difference each day, whether by cooking a meal together, offering gentle advice, or simply being present. That feeling of being needed and heard is a kind of emotional medicine that nothing else can replace. Of course, for this relationship to be sustainable, it requires care and honesty. Before moving in together, there should be open conversations about everyone's needs, preferences, and limits. Things won't always go smoothly, but when the foundation is built on respect and love, every challenge can be addressed. Each generation needs its own space, its own schedule, and most importantly, the sense of being honored as an individual, not seen as a burden or an outsider. Don't think of living with your children as giving up your freedom in exchange for convenience. It can be a return, but in a completely new way, warmer, more mature, and filled with sharing. In that home, you are no longer the one carrying everything on your shoulders, nor are you simply watching life pass you by. You are the keeper of connection between generations, the living memory that helps your family understand their roots and the lasting values that bind them. And if one day you find yourself longing for a home filled with children's laughter, the scent of weekend baking, and warm hugs after dinner, don't hesitate to open your heart, because maybe what you're truly seeking isn't care, but the feeling of returning, of being loved, and of continuing to write new pages in the story of your life. Solution 3. Smart home improvements for safer senior living. Sometimes, it is the smallest changes in our living space that can spark the greatest shift in how we experience aging. Keeping your familiar home while making it safer, more comfortable, and easier to navigate is a gift you give yourself. Growing older does not mean retreating from life, but rather learning how to adapt in order to continue living your best days with gratitude and self-respect. Choosing to live at home with smart adjustments is a way to preserve the place you love while creating an environment that fits your evolving needs. Many people assume that once we begin to slow down, the only safe option is to move into a care facility, But in truth, with just a few thoughtful upgrades, it is entirely possible to turn your home into an ideal place for continued independence and safety. Items like grab bars in the bathroom, walk-in showers, non-slip floors, stair lifts, or motion-activated lights are no longer luxuries. They are tools that ease your mind when moving around at night, help you feel secure when stepping over thresholds or getting up from a chair. Each of these little details sends a message. You are still capable of caring for yourself with just the right support in place. Linda, a 79-year-old woman, is a heartwarming example. After a minor fall in the bathroom one morning, she found herself hesitating with every movement instead of withdrawing. She chose to renovate the home she had lived in for nearly 40 years. Her son helped install handrails along the hallway, replaced the slippery tile with textured wood flooring, and added motion sensor lights in every shadowed corner. Within weeks, Linda stopped walking cautiously. She regained her confidence, started making her own breakfast again, tended to her front porch flowers, and savored each step with a new lightness. What she said afterward was simple yet profound. "I'm no longer afraid. I feel like I'm living, not just trying not to fall." Another beautiful thing is that today's technology has become so intuitive, you don't need to be tech-savvy to benefit from it. Voice-controlled speakers, automatic medication reminders, doorbell cameras, or alert systems that detect unusual motion are now easy to install and simple to use. They allow you to stay connected with loved ones while preserving your privacy. You remain in charge of your own life, but with an added layer of quiet, thoughtful protection. Improving your home is not only about preventing risks, it is a deeply loving and respectful act toward yourself. Each item placed where it belongs, each device added at the right moment, is a way of telling yourself, "I deserve to live safely, comfortably, and with confidence." With these smart adjustments, you do not need to leave the place you have called home for so long. You do not need to pack up your memories and move away. All you need is a few changes to let that beloved space continue walking with you into the years ahead. The most important thing in aging is not about slowing down, but about living more deeply and peacefully. And sometimes, the biggest change begins with the smallest things: a pathway that's easier to walk, lighting that's easier on the eyes, a room that feels more open and organized. These changes do more than protect your physical health. They nurture your spirit and remind you that you are still fully in control of your life. If you are unsure whether to continue living at home or seek another option, take a moment to look around your house and ask yourself, is there a way this place could still be my sanctuary? If only it were better suited to my needs. The answer may be simpler than you think, because sometimes holding on to the familiar, with just a little bit of thoughtful change, is the key to opening the door to a safer, freer, and more hopeful chapter of your life. Solution 4. Multi-generational living with respect and boundaries. Living with children and grandchildren is a familiar setup for many families, but for that arrangement to truly become a source of joy and a place of comfort for everyone involved. Love alone is not enough. It also requires respect, understanding, and one more crucial element: clear boundaries, not to create distance, but to allow each generation to coexist in a peaceful, pressure-free way. When boundaries are set with sincerity and respect, shared living becomes a meaningful journey, where older adults are free to be themselves and younger generations learn to slow down, listen, and connect more deeply. There's a common assumption that once you move in with family, you automatically become the free babysitter or a full-time household assistant. But the truth is, you are not meant to serve or give up all your routines to fit into a younger lifestyle. You deserve your own space, your own rhythm, and a daily schedule that honors the pace and preferences of later life. These things don't just make you more comfortable. They help your family understand that true closeness doesn't come from doing everything together, but from coexisting in love while maintaining individual independence. Helen, 83, is a wonderful example of this balance. After losing her husband, she moved in with her daughter and son-in-law, but they had prepared a bright, private room for her near the balcony where she could grow a few pots of flowers. Each morning, she quietly fixed her own breakfast, read the paper, and did a few gentle stretches. In the afternoon, if she felt like it. She helped cook dinner or played with the grandchildren, but nothing was expected. No one pressured her or made her feel guilty for needing her own time. That natural ease made the home feel harmonious and warm. As Helen once shared, "I've never felt like an extra or a burden. I live here not to be taken care of, but to keep walking alongside my family." The success of multi-generational living doesn't come from who does more, but from being clear about expectations. Before moving in together, have open conversations about what you need, what you're willing to do, which personal spaces should be respected, and how much quiet time you want each day. These discussions don't make you difficult or distant. They create a shared understanding that helps everyone treat one another with grace. No one feels ignored, and no one feels displaced in their own home. What's truly beautiful is that in a space like this, you not only feel like you belong, but also rediscover meaning in each day. You might share an old story with your grandchild, cook a treasured family recipe, or simply smile as you watch the generations moving together in peaceful rhythm. It's a sense of belonging without being bound. The joy of being invited into the world of your children and grandchildren, not being absorbed by it. When you live multi-generationally with clear boundaries, everyone in the household learns how to respect one another. The young gain patience and gratitude, while the older generation learns how to adjust their pace without losing themselves. And in the middle of that harmony are warm meals, gentle laughter, and quiet moments that feel deeply reassuring. If you've ever feared that living with your family might mean losing your freedom or becoming a burden, try looking at it differently. Maybe what you truly need is not complete solitude, but a shared space shaped by kindness and respectful boundaries. And when that space is built on a foundation of love, aging is no longer a time of retreat, but an opportunity to live even closer to what you cherish most, while still staying true to yourself. Solution 5. Independent living communities with flexible support. There comes a time in life when your own home starts to feel too large, too quiet, or sometimes simply too lonely. Not because you can no longer care for yourself, but because the things that once brought joy, family meals, spontaneous conversations, familiar footsteps in the hallway, have faded into memories. For many, choosing to live in an independent living community is not about needing care, but about wanting companionship, joy, and connection at just the right moments. It is a place that doesn't take away your personal freedom, but simply adds peace of mind and convenience when you need it. The model of independent living communities is becoming an increasingly appealing option for those who want to maintain autonomy but prefer not to live alone. Here, you still have your own private space, whether it's a cozy apartment or a small house. You still cook the meals you love and decide your own schedule. But when you need someone to help carry something heavy, accompany you to a health appointment, or simply join you for an afternoon walk, support is available, gently, respectfully, and without intrusion. The story of Robert, 78 years old, is a beautiful example. After his wife passed away, the spacious home they had shared for nearly 50 years felt empty. He was still sharp and healthy, but the silence each evening made him feel like life was slowly slipping away. He decided to move into an independent living community with a shared garden, a reading room, craft classes, and weekend movie nights. He still shopped for groceries, cooked simple meals, and practiced yoga each morning. But now, after breakfast, he could sit and talk with new friends, reminisce about the past, or simply share quiet time reading in a sunlit library. He once said that his decision to move wasn't because he needed someone to take care of him, but because he needed to live alongside others who were also walking through the autumn of life. These communities are nothing like the closed-off feel of traditional nursing homes. They are designed to help you feel free while also providing enough connection to avoid isolation. Some focus on the arts, others on nature, and some on fitness and emotional well-being. You can choose a place that matches your personality and interests, a place where you can truly be yourself, without rigid rules or demanding schedules. The best part is the sense of control. You can join a social event when you feel inspired, or stay in your own apartment when you need quiet. If you ever need medical assistance, someone is just a call away. If you feel like having a shared meal, the dining hall is open. But if you would rather cook your favorite dish, your personal kitchen is right there waiting. No one forces you to change your habits. They simply make it easier for you to live comfortably in the way you choose. Many people once believed that moving into a community meant giving up privacy, but the reality is quite the opposite. You get to live exactly as you want, but without the burden of loneliness. You no longer face your vulnerable moments alone, because there is always someone nearby ready to listen or just sit beside you in silence. In these communities, connection doesn't come from obligation. It comes from the shared journey of life. Everyone there has loved, lost, longed, and hoped for a few more days of living fully. If you are searching for a place where you can keep living with ease, without pressure or confinement, where each day brings a fresh chance to rediscover yourself, then an independent living community with flexible support might be exactly what you need. Because aging is not the end of the road. It is the doorway to a different kind of living, gentler, richer, and more free than ever before. Solution 6, smart home technology for safe and independent living in our later years. Our home becomes more than just a place to live. It becomes the space that lifts our spirit every day. Each corner, every worn-out chair, and every familiar window frame holds a piece of memory that brings peace to our hearts. But as health begins to change, as our eyesight dims and our steps become less steady, many begin to wonder, am I still safe living alone? The answer is yes. If we know how to gently invite new technology into our lives to preserve our independence while adding a layer of reassurance for ourselves and our loved ones. Smart home technology today is no longer reserved for the young or tech-savvy. It is now designed to be simple, intuitive, and quietly dependable, like a trustworthy companion. Fall detection sensors can be mounted on the ceiling, completely unobtrusive, yet capable of sending instant alerts to family members if something goes wrong. Medication reminders can be set to give a soft audio cue at the right time, helping you stay on track even on tired evenings. These devices are not about surveillance. They are here to support you in living with confidence and ease. Mr. Harold, 81, once felt deeply resistant to technology after his wife passed away. He continued to live alone in their small suburban home, concerned for his safety. His son discreetly installed a smart system, including motion sensors, voice-activated speakers, and a wearable emergency alert watch. At first, Harold was uncomfortable, feeling watched. But after a few weeks, he realized he no longer had to fumble for light switches at night, no longer forgot his medication, and no longer worried. What if something happens and no one knows? He still lived alone, but never felt alone. What he appreciated most was the sense of dignity. No one intruded on his rhythm, yet he always knew someone was ready to help if needed. Technology in the home is not a replacement for family. It is a bridge that keeps you and your loved ones connected with trust and care. A single device can gently alert your daughter if you haven't gotten out of bed as usual. A smart doorbell camera lets you see who's at the door without having to get up. A smart fridge can notify you when the milk has expired, helping you avoid unnecessary health risks. These little touches, placed thoughtfully, help you maintain independence without the constant weight of worry. The best part is, you don't need to transform your entire home all at once. You can start small, with something like a motion-sensing nightlight, and gradually add more tools that suit your needs. Adjusting may not always be easy, but once you realize that these changes help you continue living in your own way, you'll see how worthwhile they are. This is not a step backward. It is a step forward toward sustainable freedom. If you are living alone, or considering how to remain in the home you love while staying safe, take a closer look at these gentle technology solutions. You'll find that today's world offers many tools that allow older adults to live with dignity, never having to choose between independence and peace of mind. And when technology is combined with kindness and attentiveness, it stops being just machinery. It becomes a quiet companion, helping you live each day fully, with confidence, autonomy, and trust in yourself. Solution 7, living in an intergenerational community for connection and purpose. Sometimes, what we need most in later life is not complete care or absolute quiet, but a neighbor's quick laugh, a morning wave, or a short conversation that warms the heart just enough. Living in an intergenerational community is a choice more and more older adults are embracing, not just because it offers convenience, but because it reminds them that they are still an important part of the world around them. It's not about being isolated or placed in a world reserved for the elderly, but about living within the vibrant, rhythmic flow of multiple generations. This model is unlike traditional senior living facilities, where most residents are the same age and live at the same pace. In contrast, intergenerational communities are designed to encourage exchange, cooperation, and natural interaction between seniors, young adults, families with children, and even single individuals. Everyone brings something unique to the community and, in return, receives something unexpected from those around them. No one is forced into a role. Everyone gets to be themselves. And because of that, life becomes richer and more joyful. Joan, 76, once believed that old age would be filled only with books, tea, and long quiet afternoons. But since moving to a small community in Oregon, where students, young couples, and older adults live side by side, her life has been infused with fresh energy. Every Thursday evening, she hosts a poetry circle where high schoolers and a few college students gather to listen, ask questions, and share. In return, they help her fix her phone, introduce her to new apps, and keep her updated with the latest songs trending online. She says she has never felt her soul so alive, even if her body still moves slowly. Intergenerational communities are often open in design, with shared gardens, community halls, libraries, skill-sharing classes, and weekly shared meals. The atmosphere is not stiff or isolating, but warm and welcoming. Like a familiar neighborhood where everyone knows each other. You might chat with a young neighbor in the morning and take a peaceful walk with an old friend in the afternoon. And most of all, you feel needed, not because others can't do things themselves, but because your presence and your life experience genuinely bring value. Studies have shown that older adults living in intergenerational settings tend to maintain a more positive outlook, have better memory retention, and experience significantly lower rates of depression. And it's easy to see why. When you still feel useful, when you exchange stories and share wisdom each day, you feel like you're truly alive. You're not confined to a separate world, not dismissed as too old to contribute, but immersed in a stream of life that is dynamic, natural, and warm. Many people worry that living in a multi-generational space might make them feel out of place or unable to keep up. But reality often shows the opposite. When age is met with respect and listening, when you open your heart to share your stories and receive new ones in return, you realize the generational gap isn't as wide as it once seemed. Sometimes, all it takes is a kind look or a sincere question to bridge two worlds that appeared so different. If you've ever believed that growing older means stepping back from society, it might be time to reconsider. Maybe what you truly need isn't perfect silence, but a place where you can still hear children's laughter, the sound of guitar music from the neighbor's porch, and enjoy evenings lit by warm lamps and lively conversations. Because connection is more than a desire. It is a powerful kind of nourishment that helps us feel that life is still full of color and worth living, moment by moment. Now you can see that living a full life in your later years doesn't have to be limited to familiar or conventional choices. There are many gentle paths filled with respect and love that allow you to continue living in the way your heart truly desires. Whether that means staying in your beloved home, living with family and mutual understanding, or joining a community filled with laughter and meaningful connection. The most important thing is that you still feel in charge of your own life. You do not have to choose out of fear. You can choose what brings you peace and adds meaning to each day. If today's message brought you a bit of clarity or a gentle sense of hope, don't hesitate to subscribe and join us again for future journeys. And if there was one solution that resonated most with your heart, leave a comment with the words, "I choose this." We truly value every thought, every reflection you share. Remember, you still have so much to live for, so much to give, and so much to feel. The years ahead, though slower, can still shine brightly in their own beautiful way. We'll see you in the next video. where we'll continue exploring more of life's quiet wonders together.